Have you ever dropped a bar of slippery soap or slid on a sudsy floor? Well, soaps and detergents are bases. One of the characteristics of bases is that they are slippery. So let's talk about bases today. Our objectives for this video are to list 5 characteristics of bases, and our second objective is to name 2 examples of bases. So what are bases? Well, they're similar to acids in some ways, and one way is that they also form ions in water, except for the ions formed in water are called hydroxide ions. So if I take NaOH, or sodium hydroxide, which is soap, and I put it in water, what happens is this compound, NaOH, sodium hydroxide, starts to break apart into different ions. The sodium ion and the hydroxide ion. And it's the presence of these hydroxide ions, or these OH negative ions, that indicate that you have a base present. Also, because you have ions in water, that makes it possible for bases to conduct electricity, just like an acid. So our first 2 characteristics are similar to acids, but just a little bit different in that we form hydroxide ions in a base. Our third characteristic is that bases taste bitter. If you've ever seen the movie A Christmas Story, you'll remember this part where he has to wash his mouth out for saying naughty words. And if you've ever had to do that, then you know what soap tastes like, and you know it tastes nasty, right? I remember when I was a teenager, I got this soap, and it smelled so good. It was called Tahitian Vanilla, and it smelled heavenly. And I decided that I was going to taste it because I was sure if it smelled that good, it would taste delicious. And to my surprise and horror, it did not taste delicious. It didn't taste anything like vanilla. It still tasted like soap. It was disgusting. So bases taste bitter. Just a side note, you should never, just like with acids, you don't want to taste acids. If you don't know what it is, you don't want to put it in your mouth. It's the same with bases. There are strong bases, and as we're going to learn in a minute, bases can be just as damaging to your body as acids can. So that should say 4th characteristic. Let's re-erase that. Where's my re-eraser? Is that my re-eraser? Yeah. 4th characteristic. The 4th characteristic is that bases are corrosive too. So just like acids, you can see this little test tube and the little drops are dripping out and destroying everything they touch. If you have a strong base, it's going to be corrosive. It's going to destroy whatever it touches. And that being said, some bases can also react with metal. Some very strong bases will react with metal. And then that means that the 5th characteristic is that bases have a slippery feel, which we've already talked about. Soap, detergent, if you feel those, they feel very slippery to your fingers. Be careful though, again, because bases can be corrosive, so you don't want to test to see if it's a base just by touching it or tasting it. And our examples for bases, soaps and bleach, detergent, baking soda. Another example is ammonia. And you'll notice that a lot of these bases are used for cleaning. And that makes sense because they dissolve in water, and because they have the ability to dissolve in water, then they are useful to use as cleaning products.